Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's been making waves globally. Countries distancing themselves from the United States in 2025. From trade wars to diplomatic rifts, let's break down the top 10 nations that have reevaluated their relationship with the US. It's a significant shift that could change the balance of global power, so let's get into it. 2025 has been a year of shifting alliances and recalibrated foreign policies. The US, under President Donald Trump, has implemented several controversial policies that have led to strained relations with key countries. Let's explore the nations that have taken significant steps away from the US country number 10, South Africa. At number 10, we have South Africa. This is a nation that has always had a complicated relationship with the US, but things took a dramatic turn in 2025. The US suspended foreign aid to South Africa, citing concerns over the country's controversial land expropriation policies. These policies, which involve redistributing land from white landowners to black South Africans, were seen as a violation of property rights by the US government. But South Africa viewed the suspension as an affront to its sovereignty. Diplomatic ties have cooled as a result, and tensions rose further when President Trump extended an invitation to white Afrikaner farmers from South Africa to resettle in the US. This move was seen as politically motivated and was met with strong resistance from the South African government, leading to a diplomatic fallout. Country number 9, Cuba. Next up, Cuba. Historically, the US and Cuba have had a turbulent relationship, but in recent years, there had been some signs of warming ties. However, in early 2025, those efforts hit a major setback. The US diplomat Mike Hammer was accused of encouraging anti-government activities within Cuba. His comments, seen as blatant interference in Cuban domestic affairs, led to a formal protest from the Cuban government. In retaliation, Cuba expelled several US diplomats and issued strong public condemnation of the US role in supporting opposition groups. Relations have once again soured, with Cuba now looking to strengthen ties with other nations, including Russia and China. Country number 8, United Arab Emirates. At number 8, the United Arab Emirates, UAE. The UAE has been a close ally to the US in the Middle East for many years. That relationship began to strain in 2025. The trigger? A series of political disagreements and trade disputes. In March, the US government blocked arms sales to the UAE, citing concerns over the country's involvement in the Sudanese conflict. This was the catalyst for a break in relations. The UAE, in response, began reassessing its military and economic alliances, seeking more partnerships with Russia and China. The growing influence of these two global powers in the Middle East is slowly pulling the United Arab Emirates away from its historic alliance with the United States. Country number 7, France. Now let's look at France. A longtime NATO ally, France's relationship with the US has been under strain for several years, but in 2025, that strain turned into a full-blown reevaluation. In April, President Macron called for the formation of a positive new alliance between Europe and Asia, with a specific focus on reducing Europe's dependence on the US. This came in response to several unilateral actions by the US, such as withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement and imposing tariffs on European goods. Macron's remarks were seen as a direct challenge to US leadership in Europe, and the French government has since made efforts to engage with China and Russia more closely, positioning itself as a more independent player on the global stage. Country number 6, Germany. Germany, a close partner to the US, has also grown more distant. In 2025, the relationship took a significant hit following several US policies that were seen as undermining Europe's sovereignty. The most prominent of these was the US imposing heavy tariffs on German automotive exports. This sparked outrage among German officials, and protests broke out in several major cities. These protests, while mostly economic, became a symbol of frustration with the US government's trade practices. Public opinion turned sharply against American goods, with consumer boycotts gaining traction. Meanwhile, Germany has been working to strengthen ties within the European Union, aiming to create a united front against US influence in the region. Country number 5, China. China, the world's second largest economy, has been in an ongoing trade war with the US for several years. But in 2025, tensions between the two nations reached a breaking point following the US's decision to revoke visas for thousands of Chinese students. China accused the US of undermining its educational institutions and cultural exchange programs. The US also imposed new tariffs on Chinese goods, leading to a further escalation of the trade war. In response, China has started to decouple from the US economy, diversifying its trade relationships and investing heavily in Africa and the Middle East. This move has shifted the global economic balance and has the potential to reshape international trade patterns for years to come. Country number 4, Russia. At number 4, Russia. The US and Russia have had a tense relationship for decades, but in 2025, things took a sharp turn. The US imposed new, severe sanctions on Russia's energy sector, targeting key exports like oil and natural gas. These sanctions were in response to Russia's actions in Ukraine, but they had the unintended effect of pushing Russia even further away from the US. In retaliation, Russia sought to deepen its relationships with China, Iran, and other nations, reducing its reliance on American trade and political influence. Additionally, Russia's efforts to expand its military presence in Eastern Europe and the Middle East have made it clear that the US can no longer count on Russia as a potential partner in global affairs. Country number 3, India. India, once a staunch ally of the United States, has shown increasing signs of distancing itself in 2025. The primary reasons for this shift are US sanctions and trade restrictions, which have severely impacted India's economy. While the US and India had a close relationship, particularly in defense and technology, the situation changed when the US imposed tariffs on Indian exports and restricted the flow of key technology, such as semiconductors, to India. As a result, India has sought to strengthen ties with Russia and other regional powers, signaling a clear shift in its foreign policy toward a more multipolar approach to international relations. Country number 2, Canada. Canada, historically one of the closest allies of the US, has shown signs of frustration in 2025. The relationship between the two nations took a hit when the US increased border checks, leading to longer delays for Canadian travelers. Additionally, trade tariffs on Canadian goods, especially lumber and steel, have sparked tensions. In response, Canadians have started to voice their discontent with US policies. This is seen in the growing public support for a consumer boycott of American products. In terms of policy, Canada has sought to deepen its ties with European nations and Latin American countries, signaling that it no longer sees the US as the sole power in North America. Country number 1, United Kingdom. And finally, at number 1, the United Kingdom. The UK and the US have had a special relationship for decades, but that relationship is showing signs of strain in 2025. Several factors have contributed to this shift. One of the main issues has been the US's approach to climate change. The UK, along with many other European nations, has been pushing for stronger international agreements on climate action, something the US has been reluctant to participate in. Additionally, the US's unilateral approach to international diplomacy has caused concern in London. The UK is now looking to strengthen ties with the European Union and other global partners, signaling a desire for more independence in its foreign policy. As we have seen, 2025 has been a year of significant shifts in global alliances. Countries are reassessing their relationships with the US, driven by a combination of policy decisions and changing geopolitical dynamics. It's clear that the world is moving toward a more multipolar future. The question is, how will the US adapt to this new world order? Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses on global affairs. Catch you in the next one.